Research Information and Management System. So in the following 1 to 2 years, ITO, the research office, and the library have collaborated together to develop this system that is planned to be launched later today. So from this graph, you can see that the whole system has 3 modules. 2 of them, the grant management module and the publication module, are internal systems to be protected by SSOID. So basically, a faculty member can log into the system using their SSOID to apply grants, to manage their project status, and submit project report. So the corresponding data will then be pushed to the publication backend, along with many types of other information, including patent data synced from the KTO system, ETD, that is electronic thesis and dissertations data, synced from GS system, and individual faculty members or postgraduate students are also allowed and encouraged to input their publication and activity data into the system. The main purposes of this is one, to keep a single source of truth, and also help faculty or departments to conduct any evaluation for individual faculty members, and also to enhance the university visibility. So the third module is here. It's called Research Portal. It's open to the public. And I think the research office and the library will show how the research portal looks like. It will greatly benefit the university by enhancing our research visibility. So that's all for the introduction. I will now give the time to Yong, our ITO colleague, to talk about the roles, the different kinds of roles. Thank you, Yong.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Sorry, my camera is not working today, so I apologize for that. Let me share my screen. Rebecca, can I? Okay, as Rebecca mentioned, the system will be launched for production tomorrow. So I'm going to show you how and where you can log into IRIMS, the new system, the new research system. Okay, right here on this screen, you can see our B Uniport. And tomorrow, from tomorrow onwards, you should be able to see this link, IRIMS Backend Grants Publication CV, and the HKBU Scholars, which is our research portal. These 2 menus will appear tomorrow after we launch it for production. For users, for admin staff who are not Band F and above, you will not probably see this link yet until after this session. RO and library will send an email and ask the school or faculty or department to nominate the admin staff. After your user account has been created, then you'll be able to see these 2 links, okay? Other than the B report, which you can log in, I will jump to the landing page of the IRIMS user guide, which the link will be sent to you either in the email or in some promotional material from library or research office. And over here, you have the user guide from library and from the research office. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see the IRIMS login. This is a login to the IRIMS backend, and this is the login to the research portal. Like I said, they'll be effective tomorrow. And then other than this landing page, okay, other than this landing page, we also have a grant module user guide. The same, this link will also be sent to you either via the email from library or research office. And then a brief introduction here. And when you scroll down, you see the same IRIMS login and the research portal login. So from these 3 different, the B Uniport, the landing page, as well as the user guide, you can also click on this to log into the IRIMS. Once your SSOID is integrated, you just have to click on it and you will log in into the system, okay? So let me see. Okay, I'm going to briefly introduce what we call the user roles in IRIMS. So in IRIMS, in the new research project system, everyone will be assigned a role. So either you are assigned editor of organization, if you are, sorry. Okay. And then just to inform you that in IRIMS, there are 3 different types of module, like the general module, the grant module, and the publication module. Okay, let me talk about the editor role. You can see I've only listed about 14 editor roles. There are actually many editor roles in the system, but these are the the major ones that we'll be using. If you are an academic staff or research staff or university officers and admin staff, Band F and above, by default, you'll be a person user in IRIMS. You do not need to apply to use the system. By default, you already have a login to IRIMS, okay? And then the second most important role here is the editor of user roles for organization. This will be assigned to some senior managers from the deans of department officers. And the following staff who are assigned this role, it's very important to the system. They will help to maintain the workflow of the system so that it will work more efficiently. And then, like, for example, editor of organizations, they will normally be assigned to administrative staff of departments who will need to maintain their department's description and contact information. And then for the grant module, for example, the head of departments will be assigned the editor of application approving academic units. For example, if staff from the physics department applies for a grant, then the head of physics department will need to approve. And if some grants, they also need the faculty or the deans to approve, then we will assign the deans and faculties to editor of approving faculty. And to help out with the whole application, we will have the editor of application, reporter of application, and reporter of grant. This will mainly be assigned to admin staff of departments to help the heads of department or to help the faculty and schools to verify the applications for grants. And then in the publication modules, we will have a number of editors' roles. The details of what these functions they can do with these roles will be presented by research office and library later on in the demo. So right now, for the good news is for this year, research office, library, and ITO will help to maintain all these editor roles. But starting from next year, we'll hand over this role to usually to the senior managers, to the editor user roles for organizations. And then after this, I will just show you a brief demo, which is pretty fast. Okay, this is the pure system. So I'm going to switch to a user from arts faculty, for example, Iris, who is a senior manager of arts faculty. Okay, because she was assigned a user role to maintain the user role of organization. When she comes in, she will only have the master data and the reporting module. And for example, the deans of arts faculty is on leave, and we need an acting dean. For example, it's Dr. He's the maybe the dean is on leave, and then he's the acting dean, and then he needs to have some editor roles to perform some functions. For example, then you need to go into the role, add role. For example, is the acting dean right now because the dean is on leave. We need to select this, update, select the relevant department. For example, Faculty of Arts. Okay, so I have assigned editor of application approving by faculty to Dr. Koch, and then I just need to save it. Okay, and Dr. Koch will have the rights to approve the applications for grants under the faculty, under the Arts Faculty Office. This is quite simple, but if you have many other roles to maintain, it could take some time. But anyway, the good news is for this year, the first year, library, research office, and the ITO will help to maintain. And who will be assigned this list? Library and RO will send an email to ask faculty and schools to nominate their staff, and then we assign into the different roles. The details and the function of different roles will be presented by library and RO in the later sessions. Okay, so that's all for the editor roles that I'm saying. I'm going to pass over to research office to demo the grant module. Over to Fabiola. Thank you.
For this part, Justin will be demoing first. Justin, please.
Okay, thanks, Fabiola. So first of all, I'll show you guys some interface of IREAMS and also how to file an application, a grant application in IREAMS. So first of all, you can see from here the layout of the IREAMS. You will see different sections. For example, editor, reporting, master data, personal, dashboard, and grant management. So these sections, you will see different sections if you're in different roles. So I will show you just some examples. For example, if you're personal user here, you will see personal and grant management. If you're an editor of application, you will see the dashboard, grant management, and editor. And if you're an editor of price, you will see editor and dashboard. And if you're a reporter, then you will see a dashboard and also the reporting sections here. So, okay, so which will be shown here, the sections that I have just mentioned. So for example, for Professor Yacht here, you can see from here, this is the user account here. Then as he is the personal users, the editor of applications and reporting, so he will be able to see editor, reporting, personal, dashboard, and grant management. All these sections, he will be able to see it and use it. So moving on to the grant management section here, which is quite useful for most of the users. You will be able to see a bar here in the left-hand side. So you will have the applications, projects, which are pretty useful. For applications, you can see the application of your own self for awarded and unsuccessful or some pending, all applications you will be able to see if that is yours. And also if you're the department head or you're the faculty dean, you will be able to see other people's applications too. So these you can see from here as from different people. For this one is you see Young Jay here, and different professors and different staff here, all the applications. So you can also see your own application here, as this is only the staging. So we have just one startup grant here. So if that is in the production, there will be more. Okay, so for the projects also, you can see the project of yourself and also the department. And since here's the staging, so we cannot see any of this, but in the production, you will be able to see some of the applications and projects. Okay, so moving on, I will show how to file an application. So first of all, if you would like to file an application, you would need to know what kind of grant you would like to apply for. So in that case, then you can search in the grant management here. You can search for the grant funding opportunities. You can click on the small triangle here to show the names, or else you can just see the little picture. Okay, so click into the funding opportunities, then you will see different schemes, or schemes are open for application but has not reached the deadline. So let's say I'm going to apply for conference grant here, is test one. So I'll click on it and I will see the details here, the title, the description, and the URL. So this depends what kind of information we add as an like, administrator input inside. So if you would like to know more, you can click on the editing layout here, the little pencil, then you will see more details in it, like the funding organizations. Maybe if we have input the internal deadline, then something will appear here, and also some eligibility to show what kind of staff can apply for this scheme. Okay, so if you have read through all the details and you still like to apply for the funding opportunities, then you can click create an application on the right hand side, and then the box will prompt up, and then you need to choose the right application type, which for this time we applied for the conference grant, so we will click on the conference grant here. So untick the award ceiling, and then click create. Yeah. Okay, so you will be able to see an application form here. So for all the little stars, the red stars here, that means that the field is mandatory. For this time, I will have the title of research on language study. Oh, sorry, I should use another use as well. So as this is the faculty dean, sorry about it. I'll switch to another one, which will be Mr. Anderson. So Mr. Anderson is actually a personal user. So you will see that he will just see the grant management and personal section here. So I'll do it all over again, sorry for that. So first of all, go to the funding opportunities under the grant management, and then search for conference grant, and then view for more details. If it is okay, then I will apply for it. Choose the scheme again, create. So that is where we left over it last time. So for the title here, since Mr. Anderson is from the language center, so I will put down the topic, the title for research on language studies of today. Okay, so some description you may like to input here. Maybe it may be the abstract or something else that you would like to put in the description. So you can check if the applicant is correct. So Mr. Anderson as the PI, because this is his account, so this will be default. You can of course change it in the here. You can click edit and change it, or remove it and add a new person here. And then the application managed by is the default organization unit of Mr. Anderson. This is all default input in the system. So, but you can also change it. So change organization. So here, and then the funding opportunities is also input ready for you. So moving on, this is funding. So for funding, you need to click edit. The funding organization has already been input for you, so you do not need to bother with it. But you need to apply, type in the applied amount. So you may want to also add budget in it. So showing not only the total amount, but some budget breakdown. So maybe we got 2 budget breakdown for this time, and then I can add line here. So you can have a maximum of 10, I think. Yeah. So maybe for the first one is research assistant, which will be like 80K. And then for the second one is some general expense, 20K. So which will be a total of 100K. So I will copy this one and create, click on, and then I will paste it to the applied amount and then update. Okay, so you will see the breakdown will be shown here and the applied amount will be shown here. So please be reminded that both amount will need to be the same. Otherwise, there will be a difference showing here. Maybe if you got like 20,000 here, then we show a difference of 80,000 here. So please be reminded that it need to match each other. Okay, so for this one, the life cycle will be the expected project duration. So maybe it is from the first day of September till the last day of August in 22. Okay, so which is like a year time. Okay, so for documents, you can input any documents that is necessary for your application, maybe some pages, some report, or some other supporting documents. So you can upload here. It can be in all many kinds of formats, such as the Word, Excel, or PDF, or even JPEG. So then moving on is the visibility. Please keep your confidentiality of your application to be confidential. Otherwise, people will be able to view your application even they are not in the same department as you. Whenever they can log into here, they can be able to view your application if you set it to public or some other options besides confidential. So please keep this. Okay, so if everything is okay here, we can send to internal approval. So if you're not ready, that you would like to save it, you could always save it and you can find your application. But if you save it, it doesn't mean that you have already submitted the application. So I assume that the application is now ready. So I will send to internal approval. And then you can type in some comments here, maybe please endorse my application, or if you would like to mention a date which is very urgent, then you can also put it here. So send to internal approval, and your application will be successfully filed. And my colleague Fabiola now will talk about more on the approval side of the applications and some other issues in the grant management module. So Fabiola, please.
Thank you very much, Justin. I'll be sharing my screen now to you all. So I will be switching back to the user, personal user that Justin just mentioned now, called Anderson, Mr. Anderson. And I'd like to show you on the application route. So this was the application filed by Justin just now, by Mr. Anderson just now. Then you will be seeing that there's an approval route here. And then first, for sending for internal approval is filed by the personal user, so by the applicant. And then it will go to the next tab, which is approving language center, which is approved by the department head. Following the first step will be approval by the faculty. And then the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh step until the eighth step will be handled by research office. So I will now quickly show how to perform the internal endorsement by department and faculty. So I will be switching from Mr. Anderson to another person, user to the head of Department of Language Center in HKBU. So I'll be switching to the Mrs. Dr. Cicely. So Dr. Cicely, in technical terms in IRIMS, is the editor of applications for the Department of Language Center in HKBU. Dr. Lee, in her interface, she will be seeing that on the right panel, she'll be seeing 10 applications are waiting to be pushed to the next workflow step. By clicking on this task, she will be seeing the application just filed by Mr. Anderson, which is this one. Research on Language Studies, 30th August 2021. By clicking on the application, she can see the reading layout, and then we'll be having the information such as the title, the funding opportunity, the funding applied amount, and then the related funding applicants, as well as the budget breakdown. So she might as well wish to know which was the date and time that this application was filed. So she may click on editing layout, and then there is a section called history and comments. By seeing the history and comments, you can see that because adjusting file on behalf of Mr. Anderson, it says that it's adjusting as Matthew Anderson on this date and this time. And then this is the comment written by adjusting on behalf of Mr. Anderson. So after checking all the details from the reading layout and the editing layout and verifying that all things should be all right, there is one missing step, that is the checking of staff eligibility. So for the staff eligibility checking, we will suggest you and we recommend users to use the current existing method to check the staff eligibility. So if there is any thing you'd like to raise, or any concerns you'd like to raise, you can talk to us after after the meeting. So for the staff eligibility checking, after this is done, the department head can go to the approval route and then click on approve. So there will be terms and conditions here stating that about the staff eligibility checking and the need to pass the anti-plagiarism. This statement replaces the hard copy of the internal project checklist designed by RO for different schemes. So after reading this statement, the department head should take on this checkbox, and this checkbox is essential for passing this step. So she can type some commenting as approved by department head, and then click on approve. After this step is done, the departmental approval step endorsement is done. So we will be moving to the next step, which is the faculty endorsement. I'll be switching my user to the Faculty of Arts, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Matthew George. Professor Matthew George will be seeing the applications pending for approval in his interface, in his user view. So he can click on the applications here pending. And then I will be searching, for facilitating our search, I will be searching for the title we just inputted. So this is the one that we are following. And then it's very similar to the steps of the departmental approval. So the faculty dean will have to go through the details of the application, and then in the both reading layout and editing layout to see the details and history and comments. So he will be checking on the file state and then the details and comments from the applicant and the department head. After he checks that all the things are right, he can click on approve. And given that he also checked the eligibility of the staff for this application. So after that, the faculty dean will confirm that with the terms and conditions that he has checked the staff eligibility and the need to pass the anti-plagiarism. Again, he will take this checkbox and then he can type in some comments such as approved by faculty. And then he proceeds with approve. As mentioned earlier, for this for this approval route, there are a total of 8 steps. And then after the faculty step, we will be passing the application will be passed to RO. And then RO staff, research office staff will be performing checking and handling the internal endorsement. research office will also submit to the funding body. So once there is a reply from the funding body, RO will update the status to be successful if that is the case. A successful project will be shown in the IRIS portal. It's open to the view to the public. And this finishes the whole management workflow. So let's have a quick look of a case that we created earlier. So I'll be switching my user to administrator user, which is the RO user. So I will be clicking on the grant management, and then I'll be showing a case, which is application filed before. It's also called research on language studies. Here on the date of 27th of August. As you can see, we have these application details filed. And then we can see that if it was successfully awarded, it shows awarded in this area. And you'll be seeing also the grants of, I will be checking on the grants and be creating the grants for this application as well. And then you will also have a project. So after the creation of projects, this step will flow to the portal. This is a portal of the IRIMS. A gentle reminder is that you might notice that this path is a path that will be different from the one that we will give to you in when the IRIS is launched. It's because this path is the backend of the IRIMS. So it's a testing environment, and this also is a testing portal. So for the testing portal here, you'll be seeing that in the project section, we will be having the research on language studies here and the project details shown. So here it finishes the grant management demo module. The grant management demo. So I'll be moving forward to the table 62 prizes and awards and how to submit them in IRIS. So switching to the prize awards. Prize awards is table 62, which is from the CBCF, and then it's an annual statistic reported exercise to UGC. Table 62 is one of the 68 different statistical tables with data coming from across the institution required to submit to UGC every year. So for this table 62, we'll be making a submission in IRIS for this year. And I'll be demoing how to do so. So first, I will be switching to a user, Mr. Anderson, who is a personal user and who is an academic. So I'll be showing here how, as an academic, he will input the price of one of his achievements. So by clicking on the personal section here, he will go to add content on the right hand side, and then by clicking on add content, a pop-up will appear. A gentle reminder is that for Chrome, there might be the blocking of the pop-up, and then you might be seeing the first time there is a blockage here, but once you allow it for once, it will stay for after. So after the pop-up appears, you'll be clicking on price, and then choosing the price. So I'm maximizing this one. And then, for example, if I type in, I'll be required to type the title of the price, which is supposed to be price of foreign language studies. And then there are other fields, like mentioned by Justin earlier, for the fields that are marked with an asterisk, a red asterisk, these fields are compulsory to be filled in. And then for those who do not have, these are optional ones. For the awarded date, please be gently reminded that for the submission of the table 62, we need to have the complete year, month, and day. Although the system only marks the year as compulsory, it's necessary for us to fill in all the free information. So the other information such as degree of recognition are optional, and we may fill in as international here. So adding granting organization. Such as Hong Kong Baptist University. And then the awarded event, I may add the event. For example, this one. And then I will be adding as well the recipients of this prize. So by default, we have the recipient to be the person who is filing the application, the prize. So by inputting the prize, Matthew Anderson will be one of the recipients. And then in case Mr. Anderson would like to input an external person, he can click on Add Person and then click on Create External Person. So we suppose there's an external person called Mr. James Lee, and who has the country as UK. The unit to be the Imperial College London. And then you can click on Create. So if Mr. Anderson has another recipient of the prize who is an internal person in HKBU, he can click on Add Person and simply in the Search tab, he can search for that person's name. For now, I'll be adding Justin, for example. And then it's done for the recipients, for example. And here is the managing organization of the prize. And the recipient may be adding some supporting documents. After, it's very important point that the visibility needs to be adjusted to backend because these will make the price to be confidential to only restricted to persons who are involved, such as the recipients and the approval root staff. So after change the visibility to backend, we can check the status is for validation and click on Save. So the price submission was filed, and then we may be seeing the after how as administrative staff we may approve for the prices. So we will be switching to the account of Mrs. Iris Chow. Sorry, I'll be searching for another user. This is Gladys C. This also from the Department of, for the Office of the Dean of Arts. So for Mrs. Gladys C, she will be having on her right panel that the notification that one price is waiting to be pushed to the next workflow step. So she'll be clicking on this price, and then she will be seeing the price that was filed now just by Mr. Anderson, and she will click on it. And after verification of the details, it's very important for the administrative staff to verify that the visibility is set as backend, and then she can click on validated. Please be aware that in case it's not set as backend and it's validated, if it's public here instead of backend, the price will be shown in the public portal. So please be reminded to set as backend and validated. Another thing that we will be sending to all academic staff and all administrative staff is that for the input of students' prices in IREAMS for top postgraduate students and research postgraduate students, they will have access to the IREAMS system. However, for SD and also undergraduate students will be needing the help from administrative staff to input the prices for them in IREAMS as they don't have access to the system. So in case it's I will be switching to Gladys again, Mrs. Gladys, and then in case you'd like to file a price for SD or undergraduate students, it's pretty much the same for the details. So the only thing is that we like to, recipients, we like to have the, since the SD and the undergraduate students are not involved in the system, in the database, so we will be having to create an external person. And in case it's an SD student, we'll be typing the SD to identify in front of the name. So the other details will be pretty much the same, and I will be filling in the HKBU. So I will be searching for Hong Kong, and then the organization unit will be Hong Kong Baptist University. So this will be how we can create a record for SD or UG students inside HKBU. So my part is finished now, so I'll be passing back the time to our colleagues.
Okay, thank you, Fabiola. So I think the grant management workflow is quite complicated. Actually, we can, I hope you still have energy and the concentration for the last session that is about the publication module. But certainly after my small part, we will have some time for you to ask questions if you have any, especially for the grant workflow that is quite complicated. You may have some questions in mind, or if you want, you can also type the questions in chat, and I'm sure research office colleagues are happy to answer your questions. Okay, so for the publication module, for the editors, I hope it is more straightforward for you. There are only 3 tasks that we hope you can help us. First of all is to approve faculty or student submissions. As Yong or Fabiola has mentioned, all academics and also postgraduate students are allowed to use the system, and they can input different types of information that I will further show it to you later. But after the submissions, please approve the records. If there is no specific guidelines developed by your department, you can simply check whether they have some obvious mistakes or typos, and then you can approve it. But if there is some specific guidelines developed within your department, please approve depending on the internal guideline. I can share with you that because before this presentation, we went through the UAT with many faculty members, and a number of them were department heads. And we have also did a demo to audience and heads 2 to 3 weeks ago. And when we did the demo, some department heads that indicated that they don't want all submissions are filed by faculty or students to be displayed on the research portal. They want to have some sort of filtering process. So some of them has mentioned that they are going to derive some internal guidelines. So if there is internal guidelines, please follow that guidelines to approve or not to approve. If there is no, please simply check some typos or obvious mistake and then just approve them. The second thing is that is to help us to remove the files uploaded by students, because the server of our system has the size limitations and we can't allow students to upload batch amount of files onto it. We only allow students to upload files for textual form of research output and also their thesis and dissertations. So for other types of forms, if you see files uploaded by students, please help us to remove them. This is the a pitfall of the system that they cannot automatically ban students from uploading. So this have to be done manually. So if you encounter a student uploading files for these types of forms, please help us to remove the files. Okay, the last task that we want you to help us is to edit the departmental profiles to be shown in the research portal. I will share the screen with you later on, but let's go to the approval procedure first. So this is how a faculty can see when they log into the backend system. Now using Karis Chan's account, I'm sure you already learned that the faculty members can apply grants and manage their grant projects here. I just want to show you the green button here, add content. Fabiola also mentioned that. So if a faculty member click add content, you can see that there are different types of information they can input, like research output. They can input the journal articles that have recently published, a book chapter they have recently published, or even non-textual form of research output like software, design, exhibition. These are the types that I just mentioned, that if you see some students have uploaded files in this form, please help us to remove them. Other than research output, they can also input activities data, like what kind of talks they have delivered, whether they have done some peer review work or consultancy work, and also price that Fabiola also mentioned. They can also input the course that they're currently teaching, and if they want to share some data set with the public, they can do so. I'm sure you all know that graduate school is working with the PhD students to make their student thesis open access. But for individual master's program, it really depends on your departmental policy. If your department encourages master's program students to share their thesis with the public, then you can either let the students to input their thesis here by themselves, and then you will do the final approval step, or you can coordinate with the students and input the data on their behalf. It really relies on what your department wants to achieve. So after a faculty members submitted something, it will go to you. You will receive an email. But before going to what you can see in the back end, I hope to share with you a table, an approval and verification table, just to give you a summary. So for research output, activity, prize, press media, project, course, and also student thesis. So you will be asked to do the approval steps. As I just mentioned, if there is no internal departmental guidelines, you can just check some very obvious typo mistake. If there is internal guideline, please stick with that. But for textual form of research output, actually, we will help you to verify the accuracy of citations, embargo periods, the full text versions, copyright, etc. So for textual form of research output, you can simply, whenever you see this kind of prompts, you can simply click approve and trust us. We can share the work with you. The library will do the final part. Okay. So let me switch to. Okay. So now I switch to Nicola Luke, who is a staff from the School of Communication. So. Basically, if you are an editor of research output, an editor of activities, or editor of courses, you can simply pay attention to the right panel. All the tasks that are waiting for you are listed here. So you can, you don't need to bother other parts of the page. You just pay attention to the right panel. For this example, there is one research output just submitted by your faculty and is waiting for you to approve. So you can just click on it and you can see the item. And if you further click on it, you can see all the data that the faculty has inputted. As I mentioned, because it's a textual form of research output, so you can just rely on the library to check all the accuracy and all the citations issues. So please click status and choose approved, and then click save. And then it will go to us and we will do the final step of verification. But if you don't select approved, this item cannot go to the library. So please remember to click approved and saved. So if there are other types of items waiting for you to approve or to verify, they're also listed here. Let's say click the 3 activities here. And again, all the items are listed. If you click on an item, you can see and edit the data, correct the typos. And then again, after finishing verifying it, you can just click status, choose approved, and click save. And then this item will be pushed to the research portal that Fabiola has showed you. Okay, so for the departmental profile, let me show you how it looks first. This is the research portal that Fabiola has showed you before. And there is a department list. I have helped to, slightly decorated the profile page of Faculty of Arts. You can see that you can upload an image here. You can input the contact information of your department here. And there is also 1 to 2 paragraph space for you to input your organizational profile. That means your department profile. And the rest of the information is listed automatically based on the information inputted in the backend. So if you are the editor, you just have to click master data, organizational units, and the units that you're responsible for is listed here already. So you can just click it. This is the space that you can input your organization profile. That means your departmental profile. You can copy and paste here. There is some formatting options here. And you can also add the photo here. There is 2 types of photo. The one that I showed you is the hero image. You can just drag the image here and then click hero image and then create. Please also remember to input all contact information like your address, email address, phone, and even your departmental web address. This will help outsiders to more easily to find the information of your department. So This the page, the guide that I'm showing you actually is the user guide that the library prepared, and there is a part for editors, and all the 3 tasks that we want you to help us are already listed here. So when we send you the email to collect the names of the for the editor roles, we will also give you the links of this user guide, and please feel free to refer to it if you have any questions or contact me directly. So I think I am also done. Do you have any questions for us? Either for ITO, research office, or myself? Okay, if there's no questions, thank you very much for attending this sharing and demo session this morning. If you have any questions afterwards, please feel free to contact us. And thank you.